Good evening, everybody. Thank you so much for listening. This is Hunter here, and I'm here with Scott. Scott, how you doing, my friend?
Doing good, Hunter. Thanks.
And I'm here with Colin. Colin, how you doing, sir?
I'm doing very well, thank you.
Good, man. So we are here to talk about the latest Bourne flick, which, surprisingly, I must admit, is trending kind of low on Rotten Tomatoes. It's at 57% right now. And with the other three Bourne movies, I believe all being in the 80s, if memory serves. The three Bourne, the three movies with Matt Damon is Bourne, Bourne Legacy.
Oh yeah, that's right. Was that Jeremy Renner?
Yeah,
that was
the one without Hawkeye.
the one with Hawkeye.
Well, just Hawkeye, but he can't quite hold his own.
Yeah, I actually, okay, I was the one who...
I'm sorry, that's a different, I don't mean to get you off track here.
No, but I was just saying that, speaking as the person who liked Hansel and Gretel Witch Hunters, Scott...
Damn you, Hunter. How dare you.
I know you weren't a fan of them.
You know what, I just saw The Brothers Grimm, and that movie is better than Hansel and Gretel.
That's true, I'll give you that, but...
The Brothers Grimm is great.
Yeah, it really is. If you haven't seen that movie...
No, I'm thinking of the Brothers Grimsby.
oh, God damn it. We are not talking...
Very different movie.
Yeah, and definitely not as good as the Brothers Grimm.
Well, debatable.
Well, not really, but...
I'll prove it.
Alright, we'll talk about that next week.
Passes. No,
we'll talk about that next week. But, so Scott, I gotta ask you, man. So, did you happen to see the Bourne? Did you guys see the Bourne Legacy?
I haven't seen the Bourne Legacy. I've seen all three of the Matt Damon movies, but I have not seen the fourth, where Matt Damon is not in that one.
Colin, what about you?
I saw the Bourne Legacy. Yeah, I liked Edward Norton. Rachel Weisz is in it too. But it was a little different. Obviously, it's taken a franchise that everybody knows and for the most part loves and went a different route with it. But yeah, I remember being so about it.
So I was right there with you. I always love seeing Rachel Weisz because, have you seen Rachel Weisz? But, and then Edward Norton I thought was good in it, but I wasn't a huge fan of the movie myself. So when they said that, not only was Matt Damon coming back, but Paul Greengrass, aka, the last movie I remember Paul Greengrass doing was Captain Phillips, which I fucking adored. I love that movie.
And he's also part of a couple of the trilogy.
Yeah, he actually did.
Supremacy looks like
and Ultimatum. And Ultimatum. Yeah.
Ultimatum was very good. I really liked Ultimatum.
That's the highest reviewed one, at least on Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah. So I'll just say, Scott, looking at some of the reviews, and I will admit I did look at the Rotten Tomatoes score before I went into this and into the movie yesterday when I saw it. So I was expecting to really not like it, and I gotta admit, man, I didn't get what people were complaining about. I thought this movie was pretty damn awesome myself. What were your expectations kind of heading in?
Expectations, I would say they were probably pretty low, too. I know that critics didn't especially love this movie, and it's really hard to capitalize on trilogies, especially, going to essentially this is the fifth movie, fourth with Damon, but I feel like it's really hard to keep it fresh and new and keep people engaged and coming back. But apparently the Bourne name is keeping plenty of people coming back. I think I saw that they just broke 50 million. So people are seeing it. But going into it, honestly, I didn't have very high expectations.
Well, this is one thing I will say. I was a little worried because I thought this might have been Indiana Jones and Kingdom Crystal Skull territory. That was kind of my fear. But I gotta be honest, man. So the plot... So the thing about the Bourne movies with the plot is that you have to really... No, hear me out. You have to really be paying attention because the movies really do throw a lot at you. And the movie, and I actually appreciate the fact the movie doesn't, spoon feed you. You really do need to be paying attention. So basically you find out that basically they're starting up a different version of the program that Bourne was originally associated with. And it ties into his dad, and it ties into really surprisingly relevant stuff now as far as our national security. Like, what are you willing to give up to feel safe? And the movie does a really good job of putting in several twists that I appreciated. And then it has one of my favorite actresses, Alicia Vikander, who of course was in Colin's favorite movie, The Danish Girl, but then also was in...
Like, the way you could have finished that sentence would have actually been truthful, but you went a different route. That's cool.
Yeah, I know. but then, of course, she was in Ex Machina, which is still one of my favorite performances in the last decade, easily. I think she's an incredible actress. And in this, she plays this girl named Heather Lee who works for CIA, who answers to melted action figure Tommy Lee Jones, who plays...
Good Lord.
Man.
Like, oh, man, he looks like the Emperor from... Like, boy, what happened to Tommy Lee? I almost feel bad watching that movie.
Yeah, it very easily could have been like a funeral at any point, because Tommy Lee Jones, he's looking old, but
1946 he was born.
Just a little perspective there.
Man, he's holding on, man.
Yeah, he's about to turn 70.
Man, he looks like he could be 85 though, to be honest.
Like, here's the thing, he was I feel like he was just in No Country for Old Men, and he looked like fine in that movie. He looked like, like a very grizzled vet, but he looked like presentable. And it's like, 5 years later or so, if that, and it's like, oh, like what happened?
Yeah, he looks rough, and I started seeing it around that third Men in Black movie. I was like, oh, you're starting to look a little rough around the edges, and this is, this isn't rough around the edges. This is the whole edge, fist falling down. But
brutal.
I know as
moving away from the Tommy Lee Jones roast.
I know as much shit as we're talking about Tommy Lee Jones, though, he really did remind me, at least, that, hey, I'm one of the best actors in Hollywood right now, because he is a dick in this movie. like a dick in a way that you would expect a major director of the CIA to be a dick. And yet, ironically enough, he turns out to not be the biggest asshole in this movie, not to get into spoiler territory. But, Scott, I enjoyed this, man. I thought so I must put the caveat out. I was about 10 minutes late because I had seen Star Trek and went right into Bourne after Star Trek. So I did miss about 10 minutes of the movie. But you really do understand that our government isn't super awesome if you go based on this. 2, it does bring up the whole issue of national security and, our privacy. What are you willing to give up to feel safe? I mean, does anyone read, a new agreement for iTunes? Like, they could be stealing your social security and handing it out. And the movie does a good job of actually tying into that. Did you feel like the corporation they were kind of talking about in the movie? I was thinking Apple the whole time. I don't know about you, Scott.
Yeah, no, they did a great job of mirroring kind of that security scare that everybody is feeling right now, especially with the better apps and better GPS locating and just more information in general that you're giving away. Yeah, I feel like they did a great job of playing into that for sure. Riz Ahmed, who plays Aaron. I really like. He's in the new HBO series The Night Of, and
it's a great fucking show.
It's a great show, and he's excellent in. So I'm a big fan of him. Just going into it, but yeah, I mean, the movie as a whole, It's a
Here we go. All right.
It's a Bourne movie. It is what it is. It's a Bourne movie. You got the shaky camera. You got the car chases. You have the stoic looks and the fleeting glances. You have the spy moves where you go past someone and you pick up something and you drop off something. It's a total Bourne movie, and I love Bourne movies. So like it was really cool to kind of reminisce in the previous Bourne style, I guess you could say. So that's what I really enjoyed about it. But I feel like it just kind of lacked a little bit of creativity. But I did like the twist that they kind of threw in there towards the end. I think I really enjoyed the third act more than I did the first two. It's just kind of it's a Bourne formula, and you have he's going after somebody to find out information about himself, like all the other three. He goes and, it's kind of a never-ending Bourne cycle. Like, he doesn't really, he always slips away at the end, and he's always running when the movie starts, kind of a thing, So it's kind of from one movie into the next, you can just kind of put in whatever plot or actors or characters you like. And that's just kind of the one thing I noticed was that I wanted a little bit more creativity and newness in it because, I love Jason Bourne and all the other movies, but I've seen 3 of them, and I didn't necessarily want to see a 4th one. I wanted to see him do something a little bit different, and I don't know. I was a little bit let down in that aspect, but I think it was well executed, what they had in front of him. Vincent Castle, who plays one of the assets, I really like him. Tommy Lee Jones is excellent. Julia Stiles always is solid. I feel like that was a little unnecessary for her. I mean, she's in like all of the movies, I'm pretty sure, since the beginning. So
yeah. Can I ask you a question about her, actually?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I didn't end up seeing this movie. So I like listening to you guys go about describing the movie as someone who hasn't watched it. It's interesting, like me deciding like how good is this movie going to be? Like, man, more people should listen to The Real Pineapple. We're awesome. But
yeah.
Yes. But okay, so this is the thing. So at the end of the Bourne Ultimatum, right? You have that big scene where you don't know if Jason Bourne is dead or not. He jumps into the ocean, and you got like the cool music kicks in, and then you see Julia Stiles as she plays her character Nikki Parsons. She's watching the TV, and the newscast says like after a 3-day search, no body has been found. And it's like it's cool music, and you're like, fuck yeah, that was awesome. So, like, where do they pick that up with those two? Because they had, like, this past, like, that he can't remember because, like, motherfuckers, like, erased his shit. So, like...
he can never remember. Just assume that he never remembers anything. Like,
okay.
He's constantly piecing pieces together throughout the whole movie.
Yeah, so where do they pick up, like, I know, Hunter, you didn't see the start of this movie. Scott, where do they pick up, like, right when this movie starts, basically?
They pick up, Jason Bourne is basically, like, street fighting. So he is, like...
That's how he's making money. Like
that's how he's staying hidden. That's how he's making money. That's how he's just taking out some anger. Apparently, he's got flashbacks as he's like just totally rocking these guys' world. Of course, he like beats everybody up.
And how far ahead of this is from Bourne Ultimatum? Like, how many years separated are we talking about?
I would say I'm not sure of the exact timeline, but I'd say maybe like it's been some time. Things have settled, so maybe like 5 years or so. Like it's been a couple years.
Yeah, maybe even like the amount of time it's been since the actual last movie.
Exactly, correct. Yeah, I would say that's pretty accurate as a whole. Yeah. So has he not like contacted Julia Stiles' character at all? Right. So Julia Stiles is sort of the one that gets him back into it and essentially gets Tommy Lee Jones and the CIA interested back into Matt Damon and Jason Bourne because Julia Stiles is researching these past programs like Blackbriar and what's the Stone one? Stone something or other. So they find her hacking in, and through her file, they see that she's linked to Jason Bourne, and they end up getting together because she needs to tell him the truth about certain parts of his life and aspects of his past. So that's always draws him in, right? There's memory, new memories. You got to get new memories, and so she kind of draws him in that way, and that brings him back into the fold of the CIA and him being on their radar and them chasing after him and so on and so forth.
Nice, cool, good stuff.
Yeah, so basically, Jason Bourne is like the spy version of Dory, because he just can never remember shit. And, like,
can we quote that? Can we keep that for later?
like Jason Bourne, like squiggly ! Dory.
Yeah.
Like basically Dory.
Yeah, like
that.
Yeah. Hey kids, if you like Finding Dory, you'll love Jason Bourne.
Yeah, same thing.
Yeah, just a little less water, but honestly though, I thought the film did a good job of connecting his dad to kind of where he comes from. It does take a little while, like very much like the Bourne movies. It does kind of give you, little breadcrumbs here and there, and when it does hit you with that reveal, I sat there and went, you know what? Okay, it wasn't like it's not a hard leap to make. You don't have to suspend your disbelief a bunch to believe what they tell you does happen. I was sitting there the whole time really thinking, man, this is what I want. This is what I want Skyfall to be, because there's a great car chase. There's a scene where Bourne just breaks the leg of a chair and clubs this dude like a baby seal, and I was like, holy shit! Like,
clubs him like a baby seal.
No, like Bourne is not fucking about in this movie.
He's pretty ruthless.
Like extremely so. There's a point where these guys are following him when he's in I believe he's in Athens, and they're on the train, and he slams this guy's head into like the control console and slams the door on the other guy's head. I was like, wow, that took you no time at all. That was really quite wonderful to watch.
I think that's my favorite thing about these Bourne movies is the chase. Like it's a chase movie. Like the whole movie is a chase essentially. But like the way that he evades people constantly, that's like the coolest part for me. Is when he you think that there's only one way out and one way in, but he somehow traps you in there and you have to go the long way around always. Like that's the coolest part for me.
Yeah, the best thing one of the other great things about it is just seeing how smart he is, and these very subtle things that he does towards it as the movie progresses, especially in the third act that takes place in Vegas. It really shows how smart he is. And there is a car chase scene, Scott, I don't know about you, I was literally sitting on the edge of my seat, sitting there just, wow, I cannot believe you guys are pulling this off. And the last fight scene he has with the asset who's been trying to kill him the whole movie, oh, it's so good. It's borderline Revenant good as far as their last fight scene. It's vicious, and just as a man, I was like, yeah, kick his ass like that.
I don't know if I'd go Revenant far, but
I'd go Revenant far.
It's like I said, it's like the other Bournes where you have the one assassin that's kind of the rival, and they don't even know it yet, right? And then they have like the CIA henchmen and all the other guys that he just blows right by, and then you got like the main assassin dude, and they have like an epic fight at the end. It's definitely a good fight, well choreographed, and the action in general I thought was very well done. My biggest problem was it is very predictable. Like I said, it's a Jason Bourne movie. You know what's coming. You know there's going to be a big fight at the end, and you know Matt Damon's just going to teabag that dude at the end and be like, later.
God, you were never
sunset.
God, you were never happy, you know.
I'm always happy. I'm a really happy guy.
Uh-huh. Well, getting to our final thoughts here, I would say that Matt Damon was born for this role. I thought. Hey, you can boo when you've seen the movie, but
I can definitely boo. Pun.
Yeah, that's the.
But man, I enjoyed this so much, and I will be the first to admit maybe I enjoyed it more because the rating was lower than I expected, but I really enjoyed this quite a bit. It's not Ultimatum good, but I wasn't expecting it to be. And the way that, again, the twist that you kind of get at the end really sets it up in a way that I went, yeah, I could see more of these. I could see one more. Paul Greengrass is back with his trademark direction. The fight scenes look crisp. It's that shaky cam. It's kind of like that shaky cam they used in, 10 Cloverfield Lane and Cloverfield, the original. How it's shaky, but it's not shaky enough that you can't see what the hell is going on. They did a great job with the fight scenes. Oh my god, the fight scenes are so good. And so while I really enjoyed it, it's not great. It's just a really, really good movie. So I'm going to give it a B+.
Wow, nice.
Scott, your thoughts?
Yeah, I would have to disagree with you on the shaky camera. It kind of got to me a little bit because I just got done watching The Ultimatum recently, and I guess I was a little I don't know if they used it better or not, or if it wasn't as on a huge screen, so that might have helped. But it kind of distracted me. The shaky camera kind of distracted me. It was pretty predictable, but it's a Bourne movie. Matt Damon just going around kicking ass, and that's always fun. It was a fun movie. They assembled a great cast. I got to be honest.
Yeah, they did.
Especially even the side characters, Eto Esando. I really like that guy. I've seen him in a couple other things. Yeah, I think it was a good movie. So in honor of Bourne, I'm going to give it a B-.
Oh, minus? Can't even get a solid B?
No,
God.
get off my back.
Is all the music the same?
Yeah, so at the end, it's like...
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
Okay, well, my review is I want to see it.
So did we entice you into the movie?
Yes, I'm down.
Nice, that's hot.
So I gotta say though, speaking of the music real quick, man, that's maybe the one good song Moby's done. And whenever I hear that song, I get so pumped up. It's like, hell yeah, it's time for a Bourne movie. And
it's only good for 30 seconds though.
Yeah, exactly. You can't play the whole 3 minutes of that song.
If you listen to the whole song in your car, you're like, oh, this is old.
Jamming
for
out
a minute.
But
hey, what do you listen to, man? Oh, mostly. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, just the Bourne, the song. Don't worry about it.
Song.
Yeah, I thought this was good. This is a good film. I don't know why it's getting the hate it's getting.
Yeah,
I think
I was a little confused about that. I was I was surprised.
Yeah, but I will say, as someone who just actually rewatched the trilogy in the last couple of days, it's one of my favorite trilogies of all time. It really is. I adored those films, and they actually get progressively better with each one, which is a really rare thing. So, I would say go see it. Scott kind of says you go see it.
Yeah, go see it.
Yeah, so I mean, I saw it at an early matinee. I think it's worth an early matinee.
Definitely worth a matinee.
Yeah. So, guys, have you had a chance to see the movie? Let us know what you thought in the comments below. You can follow yours truly on the Twitter at JHunterRealPineapple. You can follow Scott on Twitter at
Newman the First.
And you can follow Mr. Colin on Twitter at
The Real O'Neill.
And you can follow us here on SoundCloud at The Real Pineapple 775, so you can be the first to hear our new reviews. We have reviews coming up this weekend for Suicide Squad, and we'll think of a couple other movies, but Suicide Squad's the only thing that anyone else will care about, so that's all we're going to review as far as new movies. Guys, thank you so much. We'll talk to you soon.